Oh, check, check, 1, 2. Can you guys hear me okay? Sorry, I had my mic muted like a noob. That's how long it's been. Can y'all hear me? Let me know in the chat. Oh, yeah, I can hear myself coming through the thing now. Dope. Yeah, man. So I'm getting into this mode. I'm actually really liking my team. I've been playing it a little bit on my main account, but this is the first time I'm really going for it on the At Me Bro Show channel. And I'm not a veteran of this mode. I'm still definitely in learning mode when it comes to this game mode. But I'm liking it so far. Definitely enjoying myself, both from the gameplay standpoint, but also just the fun of going through the NBA players of old and stuff like that. And I'm gonna be real with y'all. While there's only one of you two in here, even though he probably gonna watch the archive, I'm trying to help you guys out because this is Mazique's mode. You know, this is the mode he has the most experience with, and I feel a little bit bad that y'all have to watch his gameplay whenever this mode gets played on our channel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel personally responsible that because I don't play this mode, you guys have to watch horrible gameplay when Mazique plays. So I figure if I learn how to play this mode, at least 50% of the time you guys see some gameplay, it can be halfway decent. Now I am just starting out, so you know, it's not going to be what's so good yet. But I feel like within a little bit of time, he did. I did not want to shoot that. Oh, there we go. I'll take it. It's on rookie, so I can do whatever I want, basically. But yeah, I feel like if I give the mode some attention, eventually my park experience, my rec center experience will come through, and I'll be able to get into it and break it down and get halfway decent at it. Not playing defense like that, I won't. Let me turn my sound down. It's a lot of sound coming through. So how y'all doing? How y'all enjoying the NBA season? It's been so long. Yo, I can't take credit for the Gold Wizards jerseys. Since I just started, this is just what they started my team in. I have no idea why we're wearing these jerseys. Although, let me catch while y'all here. Y'all got the early. Y'all in here early, so let me give you guys some benefits for being here early. Should I pick Bulls jerseys? Definitely should not have taken that layup. Should I pick Bulls jerseys to troll Mazique, or who should I play with? What jersey should I use? What do y'all think? I'm surprised that didn't go in this mode. That nonsense usually goes in. So I'm a Bulls fan, so my NBA season's pretty tragic. Yeah, the Bulls are rough. I mean, and I am both a Lakers and a Knicks fan, but my hometown team, the ones that break my heart the most, is obviously the Knicks. So the only thing I control you guys about is the fact that I don't think the Bulls have like a genuinely promising like young player. Like, it's not that Kobe White isn't promising at all. He seems okay, and I hope he's better than that, to be honest with you. I like the way he plays, or at least the way he could play when he learns how to play the game. He's obviously very young. But you guys don't have anybody that looks like they're going to make multiple All-Star games yet. And with the Knicks, I like RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. There's nothing else good about the team, but I do like RJ Barrett and Mitchell Robinson. Post this midget up. You got time? Post them up. Yeah. The season's interesting so far, and I'm excited for the rest of the season. Yep. Yeah, the season is great so far. I mean, let me tell you, the Golden State Warriors were a blight on the NBA with Kevin Durant there. I was hoping they wouldn't be as bad as they are, to be honest with you. I wish they weren't so trash, because I would love to see the way they play the game. What's up, 1989? the way the Warriors played the game without KD in the lineup when Steph and Clay and Draymond are forced to really step up. And I thought that actually could have been interesting with D'Lo, but they just have too many injuries. And I also, to be honest with you, I think they're very fatigued. And similar to the way LeBron kind of needed to miss the playoffs for a year to turn back into LeBron, like there's just no way he could have had another postseason and come back and play the way he's playing right now. I think collectively the Warriors organization just needed to take a year off. And that's what they're doing, and I'm fine with that. Let me see if I can get a 3 with Jameer. Get his Evo up. Did any of you guys play my team? Let me know in the chat if anybody else besides me plays my team. If any of my team people's out here. But somebody mentioned the Mavericks. Yeah, I love the way the Mavericks look. But I do, and you know, I'm actually a fan of Luka Doncic. If you guys, yeah, I don't like that Doncic is a 96 overall. Yeah, I just think that somebody should get a full season of playing at a high level before you treat it the same way you treat players who've done it. I mean, I say for at least a season, but honestly, if you haven't done that kind of thing for, you know, 2, 3, 4 years, there have been many players in NBA history who had an amazing year. And I'm not saying this is the case with Doncic. I think Doncic will continue to be a great player. No question about that. But I just think like stuff I'm hearing, like, would you rather have Doncic or James Harden? Like, stop it. We criticize James Harden. If we judge James Harden on his best 20 games of the regular season, he actually would be considered better than Michael Jordan. But the reason we judge James Harden harshly, and since we're comparing to Luka, we're not talking about defense here, is because of what he's done or hasn't done in the playoffs, right? He's got hit in the head in this playoffs. He had a migraine and that, well, concussion in this playoffs. Like, James Harden has gone through the fire. So if and when he eventually does have playoff success, you'll be able to look at James Harden and say, well, this was his journey through that. Luka, 20 games of really good play, and you're talking about like you're just guaranteeing he's going to do this forever. For people who don't know this player, there's a player called Glenn Rice. He was a great shooter, great player for all of his, well, a very good player for most of his career. But for 1 year, Glenn Rice basically literally could not miss, right? Like for a whole year, Glenn Rice couldn't miss. If you were familiar with Glenn Rice before that year and you were watching it, you were thinking, what is happening right now? Why is this dude all of a sudden the greatest shooter I've ever seen in my life? And I remember when, cause I was fairly young, I think I was in high school, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, when is he going to stop being this crazy? I think he might have got MVP at the All-Star game that year or something like that. And it just went on for a whole year. Like, Glenn Rice for a year was the greatest shooter in NBA history, right? And you could probably still look at that year and be like, and if you look at, like, the way defenses were played and the amount of three-pointers people took, you could make an argument that that year is Steph Curry worthy as far as shooters go. And then he never played that well again. Never played that well before that. So I'm not saying Doncic is a flash in the pan. No, I was one of the first people to say they might have made a serious mistake trading. The Hawks might have made a serious mistake trading down away from Doncic. I thought that was crazy considering he was the European MVP. So I'm a believer in Doncic, at least on the offensive end. But you got to see how this pans out over at least the course of a season. You can't just go crowning this guy. Like, I think it's a little early. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a little exaggerated? And, you know, we grown-ups here, and people have discussed this aspect of it. I'm going to just take the shot because it's on rookie. I need to get this card Evo to the first level so he gets his 86 ball handle ASAP. You know, people want a white player to be great. And you know what? So do I. You know, I think it's good when everybody has, you know, somebody that they can look at that represents them a little bit more, right? I mean, it's one thing if it's like a ratio, but it's another thing to be like, basically, since Larry Bird, there has not been an American white superstar, right? And from the guard position, Steve Nash is the closest you get, right? So, you know, it's I can understand the hunger for Doncic to do well, right? Good-looking kid, great pedigree, seems to approach the game with the right attitude, entertaining to watch, right? He got a good-looking game. Like Kevin Love in Minnesota was putting up monster numbers, but he wasn't really like fun to watch necessarily. Doncic is awesome, you know. He's great to watch. So I understand the hunger, but I think that hunger is getting the better of people, and they're just taking it a little too far, saying stuff that's just a little bit out of pocket with it, especially for a player who not only does he not play defense, but physically he looks like he will not ever have the ability to play defense. You know what I'm saying? Like that's not something that he will ever be able to do. Somebody's mentioning, y'all mentioning Jeremy Lin. Jeremy Lin's a great example, and quite honestly, I could throw Donovan Mitchell in there too. Donovan Mitchell does not look like he's going to become, like right now, he's a young player, but he doesn't look like he's going to become Dwayne Wade. And Donovan Mitchell looked like he was going to become Dwayne Wade for a minute. You know what I mean? Like, you could have made that argument like, yo, people slept on this dude. You know, he's going crazy. He's the second coming to Dwayne Wade. And now it's kind of like, we'll see. I'm not saying he will or he won't be, but it definitely looks like more of a we'll see thing. I think the same thing with Luka. It's like Luka looks amazing, but is he going to average 30-point triple doubles for the rest of his life? Maybe, but I think it's fair to be like, let's at least wait and see about that, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's not just act like people have never gotten figured out by the NBA before. So that's my take on the Luka thing. Now, and that having been said, I like Luka. I hope that him and Porzingis do become an awesome dynamic duo. I hope that they make it to the playoffs and threaten somebody in the playoffs. And obviously, I don't hope they beat my Lakers, but outside of that, they can do whatever they want. I root for stuff like that, and I like the kind of game that Doncic has for the fate of the league. You know what I mean? Like that. I always like it when a skilled player can overcome his lack of athleticism. And Luka isn't, he's like not a tragic athlete. He just has heavy feet on defense in particular. Offensively, he's very balanced, he's very shifty, he's very strong. Those are all athletic gifts. He doesn't have amazing hops, but I've seen plenty of black guys that had Luka's hops or lack thereof and did just fine in the league. So it's not like, it's not like Luka can't dunk or anything like that. Like, I don't think his athleticism is going to be a problem for him, but defensively, it definitely. I'm very curious to see what it looks like in the playoffs when people start picking on him, and if that exposes him, then all of this talk comparing him to LeBron James is going to look absolutely ridiculous, and that's why I think people might be taking it a little bit far, but that's just me. M7, what's up, man? He says the Lakers looking really good. Yeah, the Lakers are looking strong. I think they still have a lot of games to play together before we know what they'll really be like. I do have one concern with the Lakers, and it's that I've watched a lot of games, and I have not seen LeBron James take anyone off the dribble in the half court basically all year. Like, legit, all year. I don't know if I've seen him take somebody off the dribble in the half court. I've seen a lot of step back threes from him. I've seen a lot of, post up is great. I mean, his post ups game has been fantastic since really like his last year in Miami. His post up game has basically been just getting better every year. And it's not that I think LeBron as an individual needs to take people off the dribble. It's that the Lakers as a team need someone on the team who can take you off the dribble. And I feel like they literally have no one who can do that right now. And that definitely concerns me. $1989 says Giannis, LBJ, KD, Kawhi, AD, Steph, Russ, PG-13, Dame, all better than Luka. I would actually say I don't agree that at this stage in his career, Russell is better than Luka. But same thing, I want to see them both in the playoff. They're both probably going to be in the playoffs this year. Suppose Westbrook in a more spread out team has a much, much better playoffs than Luka when the defense is focused on him for a 7-game series, the way the defense has been focused on Russ for a 7-game series, right? And people are talking about Damian Lillard. See, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Like, it's very hard for a player to care about December when they've been in the playoffs over and over and over again. You know, Curry's definitely better than Luka. Nobody's saying it. I hope nobody's saying it. Who said Luka's better than Curry? Wait, Luka's better than Curry right now? No, I mean, Curry's hurt, but if Curry was playing, Curry is a much, much, much better player than Luka Doncic as far as I'm concerned. That's crazy. See, that's the kind of crazy stuff I'm talking about, man. Like, people aren't game planning for Luka Doncic yet, right? Like, all of these other guys on this list, like, literally everybody on this list, Curry has played. Curry played this year. And he had some good games this year. He broke his hand early in the year. But the last time we saw Curry, which was this calendar year, he was a better player than Luka Doncic. He's still a better player than Luka Doncic. But like Damian Lillard is carrying an entire franchise. Like, when he's facing these teams in the playoffs, they care about, number one on their bulletin board, is stopping Dame Lillard. Luka Doncic has not faced that yet. So when Dame Lillard is in November and December, you know, it's a different thing when you know what you got to worry about later in the season. Like, these guys pace themselves. They don't care about this part of the season. This is the first time Luka has ever done this in the NBA. You know? So I just don't think it's a fair comparison. And that's the thing. I'm not even saying, you know, he can't be or he won't be. I just don't think the comparison is even fair to him or the people you guys are talking about. What is Channing Frye doing? Oh, that's a bad shot. Ugh. Thank God for rookie difficulty, because that's a bad release. $1989 say y'all making Brian's takes look sane. Slow down now. Slow down. Nothing makes Brian look sane. He was saying, Brian done sat up here on this show and said that he thought they had a chance at Anthony Davis. The Bulls, that Anthony Davis was possibly going to go to the Chicago Bulls. Y'all remember that? I ain't going to let him forget that. Y'all remember that? Also, by the way, when we had an argument about about Jamal Crawford and talking about best handles and all that stuff, he said Jamal Crawford is a PG, and I was like, dude, nobody's ever made Jamal Crawford work at PG. And I said, he's not even a PG in my team. He said, yes, he is. Here I come to my team. Jamal Crawford is a shooting guard on... He got like 4 cards in this game. He's a shooting guard on every card except one where he's a shooting guard at Diamond until you evolve him into a point guard. You know, but... You know, on the Abby Bro show, we can only be half true because I'm only half the show. So, I do my best, y'all. Oh, I'll take it. Yeah, I do think it would be a big deal if Luka was black because of the 40-point triple doubles and stuff. We're in a numbers era. Right, and the Mavericks have a winning record. Porzingis hasn't played well, so I think if Luka was black, it would be because people were making a really big deal out of Trae Young early in the season, and arguably Trae Young didn't play quite as well, or at least the Hawks, in addition to Trae Young, didn't play quite as well as Luka and the Mavericks are playing. I don't think Trae Young was short of any shine when he was really on fire in the beginning of the season. So I do think it would be a big deal. Do I think it would be as big of a deal? I think for some people it wouldn't be as big of a deal. That's the way I would state it. You know? I think for some people it would be like whatever. Not whatever, but yeah, he's another good player. But I do think other people, it's bigger to them because, you know, he's a white NBA player doing this well. Why am I playing against Amethyst with this team? What are y'all doing? Tim. See, and the only reason I even care is because I have unevolved cards that. I mean, it's on rookie. I shouldn't care at all, but I don't like having to run these slow cards with no handles around. It's Pau Gasol anyway. He trash in this game. $1989 says Luka hasn't even had that "I'm here" moment yet. See, that's a great thing you bring up right there. The "I'm here" moment. What the "I'm here" moment comes from is when you face a serious opponent, and every time I say serious, Siri loses her mind. Is when you face a very challenging opponent and you show them, hey, you got to deal with me now, right? All the stuff that's worked before, I'm not running away from you and the challenges you present. I remember when Paul Pierce had his against the Indiana Pacers, and I think it was Al Harrington. He was staring him down and talking to him, game on the line, dribbling right in his face, doing that rotten Paul Pierce can't grow any facial hair look, and he just jade him right in his eyeballs, put it right on his lip. And from that point on, if anybody called Paul Pierce the truth, you could refer to that play and be like, yeah, this boy is cold. Luka, it's the beginning of the season. I could see if it was even the like we had serious matchups, or they built up a rivalry, or somebody had talked some crap. Like, y'all remember Ruben Patterson? He was like the Kobe stopper, and then Kobe just like, hung him out for laundry. Like, if it was something like that, but nobody's even going at Luka. Like, nobody's thrown him into the stands or flagrant fouled him and, told him you can't break. Like, he hasn't had that moment. He's just having good games. And they talking about James Harden and Dame Lillard, like, he better than Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard, like, literally he's averaged 35 points for like an entire March and April to get his team a higher playoff seed than so many teams that were supposed to have better seeds. Like, y'all are forgetting that. You know what I'm saying? Dame Lillard was a monster, and this is recent memory. Like, Dame Lillard was a monster for the longest time. What was that, last year or the year before? And it was just like, what is happening in Portland? When is he going to stop averaging nearly 40 a game out there? And he's playing with a guy who also averages over 25. And because Dame Lillard is having a slow start to a season, is Luka better than Damian Lillard? Like, I get the rebounds and the blah, blah, blah. But again, let's at least, get to the point where defenses are saying, all right, our goal tonight is to shut down Luka Doncic. Like, that is not happening yet. These guys are just trying to get through the season healthy. That's all they care about. They just care about getting through the season, figuring out their own stuff. They're not looking over at Luka Doncic with the Mavericks like, what are we going to do about Luka tonight? All right, Evan Turner. I really need to pick up that Drew Holiday card. I love that card, and he is definitely going to be... Like, I feel like almost no matter what other point guards I play, I'm going to always play that Drew Holiday card. Somebody said... Gigolo said the postseason losses don't make Harden look great. Yeah, but Luka hasn't been in the postseason. So I'm not trying to compare somebody who's never been to the playoffs to people who've lived in the playoffs and all of their failures that people judge them by is from the playoffs. If James Harden's report card just said regular season on it, he get all A pluses. Like, legit, you have to put James Harden on a Mount Rushmore. If there was no such thing as the playoffs and you just went by the regular season, James Harden is like as silly as they come when it comes to great players. But it's not like that, right? You know that regular season stuff doesn't fly. Yeah, the Mavs and the Rockets have basically the same record, and the Rockets have serious depth problems with two of their highest rotation players. Their third best player in Eric Gordon is not playing and was never right to begin with for the season. I got dribbles now. Let's go. And they also lost Gerald Green, who was one of their main rotation guys in terms of You know, they're three-point shooters and stuff like that. And if you guys watch the show, you know that I'm a great believer that when it comes to three-point shooting, depth is key, because when one guy's, especially throughout the regular season, when one guy's get cold and doesn't have it that night, and the coach can just go to another great three-point shooter, that's what makes great three-point shooting teams so viable. You know, that's why OKC was always a terrible three-point shooting team. They had like one person on the team who could shoot threes. If that guy was cold, nobody could shoot threes, right? So with the Rockets not having Eric Gordon and not having Gerald Green, they're actually secretly having a pretty good season already, considering Russ is shooting really poorly. His free throw shooting's a bit up from last year. He's shooting really poorly. James Harden started out the season terribly. So for the Rockets to have the season that they're having so far, that's not too bad. Tyreek Evans had similar numbers to Luka. Tyreek's another great example of a player that looked like, I mean, in his rookie year, he's 25-5. Oh, here we go. Here we go. We have my unsupportive co-host. What you think about that Miami Heat, though, Brian? That's what I want to know. I want to know how you're enjoying the NBA season. That's my concern. Oh, yeah. Triple threat card. What we got? Steph Curry. And we got, what time is it? It's 9:37. Okay, so we got. Keep going with this triple threat. Trying to get the extra MT for this account. Alright, even though, oh, in fact, let me look at these Evos real quick. Ooh, I do have evolutions. What am I doing? Jameer, let's go. Alright, 86 ball control for Jameer. So now I have to really start focusing on him. What do you need? You need a lot. I could get this Andre Miller in a few games, but I don't really need Andre Miller. I don't even know why I picked up that card. Oh, Channing needs 10 points in a single game. I did not do that. So let's do that now. And I want to try out this Lonnie Walker card. This is one of my favorite things about this mode, is trying out all of these weird little cards that are way better than the color would indicate, than the ratings would indicate. Yeah, the Channing Frye card could definitely shoot. And he's actually pretty solid in other areas too. He's got a nice post fade, a nice post hook when he's Evo. Kerry Kittles, the longest neck in the history of necks. Yo, why does Kerry Kittles look like every morning he wake up and he put the shirt on without taking the hanger out? I don't know if y'all remember Kerry Kittles, but people always ask me about, do you like the Brooklyn Nets? Like, as a New York fan, I'm like, before cable was cable and before the internet, you got your local teams. And my local teams were the Knicks and the Nets. So I've seen hundreds of Kerry Kittles games. Luol Deng, and okay. Kerry Kittles was a solid player overall. Who was it? There was somebody that Kerry Kittles got drafted over that I know they really regretted it. I'm trying to remember who it was. Oh, Gigolo, Triborough Gigolo, Knicks fan over here. Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. We're suffering right now. It's a dark, dark world. I still love RJ. Still love RJ. And Brian said he's at a church function. Then why you having all them devilish thoughts, Brian? Man, why you sounding kind of evil, man? You gonna burst into flames out there the way you talking in this chat, where you lying about the Bulls all the time. You know, I would think you would be on your best behavior. All right, first we're gonna check out this Lonnie Walker. Oh, Lonnie Walker, crazy. Oh, he's on skates. That's sick. All right, give me this 3. Can you get that? No, that's too far. Why'd you jump behind the line? See, I hate when I tell them to fade and then they roll. That bugs me so much. Because I really just want him to get these 10 points so I can evo him. Miami lost by 3. But hey, that's a good look for them. It shows that they're very, very competitive. They need to figure out their Dion Waiters situation, and they need to figure out their Dion Waiters situation, and they need to pick up one more piece. I know they wanted Chris Paul, who I do think. I mean, if they get Chris Paul, the only thing I don't like about them getting Chris Paul is Jimmy Butler has like 4 years in him, and Chris Paul probably only has like 1 more year of playing at the level at like his best, what his best available level like is gonna go down tremendously. So I don't like that matchup for that reason, for what Chris Paul's contract is. If it was a situation where they had one more guy and they had a championship window, then I would say yeah. But they could get 3 Chris Pauls and they ain't beating Milwaukee. So, you know, I think they could probably beat anybody else in the East, but they ain't beating Milwaukee. Trade Justice Winslow for CP3. Yeah. I mean, they could do that, but I just need to see how the salary is gonna work out. Like they might have to get another team involved. And how would Justice work on the Thunder? I guess he could work okay on the Thunder. Justice Winslow is an NBA player. He's like nothing more, nothing less. He's like a prototype. He's a standard NBA player. Like he like a creator character with no tattoos, default uniform, just like a 75 in every category. Kendrick Nunn is nice. Hero is real nice. Cause like usually shooters who score the way he scores. All right, there we go. Can't get a green. I'll take it. Channing got 8. Yeah, Nunn, Hero, they look fantastic. I mean, Spoelstra definitely in the running for Coach of the Year, but we've already known how great of a coach he was, and he's just proven it year in and year out. Riley proving it year in and year out. I remember, y'all see the name of that team, right? I'm not going to say it. I'm going to just let y'all read what the name of the team is and enjoy that amongst yourselves. But, yeah, Miami's definitely looking pretty solid, man. I remember a lot of players were talking about, like, they were kind of talking about Miami and, like, why would you go there and stuff like that. It's like, don't ever sleep on. That was a terrible shot. Sleep on Pat Riley. There we go. There we go. That's 10 for him. Don't sleep on Riley, man. And the reason I say don't sleep on Riley is not just because of his reputation. It's specifically the Miami Heat have basically not had a single year where they weren't at least threatening the 8th seed. And they haven't had talent since LeBron left. Like Chris Bosh, when he got his blood clot problems, that should have completely destroyed the Miami Heat. But they were still super competitive. Beverly's out. Yo, man. I've never seen a post game interview take a guy's reputation into question, except for when Shaq called Stan Van Gundy a front runner. When he no, it wasn't that he called him a front runner. It was he said when the general panics, the troops panic, and like basically ever since then, Stan Van Gundy would never again be seen as an elite coach. And the same thing happened when Westbrook said that about Patrick Beverly earlier in the season. Like literally, it was 2 days of, is Patrick Beverly really a good defender? And then just like looking at all this footage of suspect defense from Pat Beverly. And people try to say James Harden was 0 for 6 with Beverly guarding him. You look at the clips and it's James Harden missing layups he should have hit, and Patrick Beverly watching James Harden go by while the rest of the team defends him. Ridiculous. I'm not saying Patrick Beverly's not a good defender. I'm just saying I found that funny. Obviously, Patrick Beverly is a good defender. Is he still as good as he ever was? I don't know about that. He is over 30 and short. So, you know. I didn't say blood clots. What did I say? Chris Bosh, blood clots. Come on, Channing. Well, Russ is a decent on-ball defender, and he's good in the passing lanes, really good in the passing lanes. But Russ falls asleep off the ball. That's his problem on defense. Is that he takes too many gambles, and off the ball he completely. It reminds me of Zach Randolph early in his career. Where if you actually watch Zach Randolph in the post, it's like, why do people call him such a trash defender? And then you'd see him get backdoored 3 times in a row, and you're like, oh, I see. And it's the same thing with Russ. Like, Russ can be a good defender if he wants to. And that's why in the playoffs I think you got to watch out for it. But he needs to take care of that fallenness. Like, his team defense is really not up to par right now, and hasn't been for a while. LeBron James blood clots. No, obviously LeBron James left. Chris Bosh had the blood clots, but yeah, since LeBron left and Chris Bosh had the blood clots, you would have thought that would have like totally eviscerated their team. They've been competitive every year, the Miami Heat. But you know, offensively, obviously Russell's averaging a triple-double, so Russell can not be a great defender and he's still bringing a ton of value to the team. Whereas Patrick Beverley, if he's not a great defender, he's not on the roster, right? Like, he's a solid 3-point shooter for a guy who's 6 feet tall. But if my 6 foot tall guy is not averaging any assists and he's not averaging, double digits a game, and he's not defending, what are we talking about here, right? Like. All right, vault is opening. Evan Turner is struggling, and let's get Jameer back in here. All right, I got a lot of contracts. If the Rockets trade for Covington, that'd actually be a really great deal for them, to be honest with you. That'd be phenomenal for them. To be truthful, I haven't been looking. Oh, I gotta evolve Channing Frye. Why y'all almost let me get up in here and not evolve Channing Frye? What's up with that? Y'all supposed to be paying attention and making sure I don't make mistakes. I'm a MyTeam noob, y'all. I need y'all help. I need y'all help to figure out this mode and provide y'all with at least some half decent gameplay and save y'all from what Mazique has been putting y'all through every time he's turned this mode on. Yo, did y'all see that stream when he was raging? I think he broke a monitor. I think he broke a monitor when he was playing. Like, I give Brian credit. If a game mode made me that mad, I don't know if I could play it. Like, I don't know if I could play all the time if I got that mad at a game mode. Like, I think he popped a vocal cord. That's why he ain't been on doing the show. I think he recovering. He going through like vocal therapy. He was yelling at. Here's my beef, right? I think it's perfectly okay to get frustrated at a video game, right? We all do it. My thing is, don't get frustrated when you suck, right? Like, especially if you suck really, really bad, like he does. If you suck really, really bad, like he does, then your main concern should be, what basic skills am I missing that's preventing me from enjoying my experience? Your situation should not be the game is cheating me. Like, that's 2K, right? There's some rebounds you ain't going to get. There's wide open, full white shots you ain't going to miss. There's contested shots the other guy's going to get. There's loose balls that ain't going to go your way. I get it. But when you're as bad as he is, that should not be your concern, right? Your concern should be, how do I fix my suckitude to get out of this feeling right now, this feeling in my chest? But that's the fighting game player in me. That's how we think. We think like, it's on me, But Brian mad at the screen like the screen is his problems. Maybe. Nah, Tay Shakir. Here's the thing. Tay Shakir said, you said it, not me, but you think playing 2K every year you'd be decent. Let me tell y'all a quick story. So I used to play first-person shooters on a controller like everybody else. played on console. My first real first-person shooter was Destiny, and then I started playing Overwatch. Now, when I got into Overwatch, I had to buy a computer for work and for drawing and stuff like that. And so I bought a computer that was good enough to play Overwatch. And for the first time in my life, I had to play on a mouse and keyboard. So everything I'd heard was mouse and keyboard. Everything you could just snipe now. It's just so easy and blah blah blah. Let me tell y'all, there are some people on a PC who are so trash with a mouse and keyboard that you could plug your controller into the computer and beat them, right? And the mouse and keyboard is easier to use than the controller. But people can play all the time and be really garbage. Like, you should not be surprised by that at all whatsoever. And I'm not. In fact, most people who play 2K are very bad. In fact, this is a good opportunity to actually talk about my team for a second. So one of the things that's interesting to me about my team as a Park and a Pro-Am player, right? So whether you play Park, whether you play Rec Center, whether you play Pro-Am, if you look at all of those YouTubers, you look at all those streamers, even myself, talking to Sam Fam, talking to Famous, all of these guys, they all are coming from the same basic bed of knowledge, right? Even a guy like Agent Zero, who's not playing the game as much as he used to, he still understands the same principle. So like the same badges, we all get it, the same moves, we all get it. But in the MyTeam community, they have a completely different perspective and understanding of the badges. And, I would think that would be just like, are they putting me up against another Amethyst? And it's Chris Paul. How annoying. How annoying is this going to be? You would think that, like, okay, maybe the average person online doesn't care about it, but, like, once you start really seeing people play, but nah, like, I've literally watched some MyTeam YouTubers, like, play over and over and over again and never seen their opponent do the behind the back, like, momentum dribble or a dribble combo or like a proper post fadeaway with a character that has like a 99 post fade and mismatch, or not make certain passes that you would always make even in like a moderate to low level of Rec Center. And I think what it is people get so into the collecting of the cards that they don't prioritize the stuff that you would have to prioritize if you're going to play one character for months on end, right? Like when you play a My Career character, Park, Rec Center, My Career, whatever, you have to learn every animation of that character perfectly. But how could you possibly do that if you're going to be switching cards as soon as 2K drops a new deck? You know what I mean? Like, 2K drops this card, you got to have it, you got to get it, you got to put them in your deck no matter what. And in that situation, like people talk about, like, for instance, the Carmelo Anthony card. Now, as a Park Rec player, I'm looking at Carmelo Anthony and my thing is, okay, he has some, that should not have been a green, that's crazy. He has some difficulty in some of his animations, but they're all greenable. So he's one of those things where if you saw a person in the park playing it like a Ticino, right? He would learn those shots, and eventually, after he got used to it, he would be just like a master of all of those shots. But in my team, people go, oh, the Carmelo card is not easy to score with? Okay, I'm out. I'm not messing with that anymore. Wow, that pass was so slow. That should have been green. So it's just fascinating to me because I think the entire MyTeam meta might be different if a lot more of the population was people who played Park and Pro-Am and stuff like that. I could be wrong about that. I could get into it and be like, oh, you just don't need any of that stuff when you play this mode. That could be the case. But the early indicators for me are that that is not the case. And that people it's not a need, they're doing fine. Like, part of the fun of the mode is collecting cards and collecting players and winning auctions. Like, it's a different form of, like, I don't want to say endorphin release, although that is part of it. Dopamine is the thing I'm looking for. It's a different dopamigenic response, right? When you, damn, Chris Paul. Sorry, I just had to focus on that situation there because I definitely don't want to lose. It's just a different dopamigenic response when you're opening cards all the time and you're opening packs and you're winning auctions. Like, it's a different thing. It's the awareness of it, right? Like, if I was on here just opening packs all day and never putting any time into cards, I wouldn't expect to green shots with those cards. I wouldn't expect to have like a good sense of which card is good and which card is bad until I put like a bunch of time into those cards. You know what I'm saying? But people judge cards without really even playing them like at all, basically, and that confuses me a little bit in this mode because I've gone into some of these cards and explored them, and there's certain situations where it's like, okay, this guy's crossover is kind of but wow, that's really going in. But his double behind the back is actually really good, you know. And if I was like playing this mode seriously, I would have to really lean heavily on these sets of moves to find success with the character. But I don't see almost anybody thinking that way. It just seems to be like, you know, pick Giannis, pick the 2 broken cards. That's green. Ugh. And just call it a day. I'm pushing Channing Frye out of bounds. It's crazy. So that's what made me partially really curious about my team in this mode is like, what if you do come to this mode and keep some of that, you know, park, rec center, pro-am mentality when it comes to learning the way players play and stuff like that? Does it apply, or am I wrong? Am I crazy? Is it just a situation where, you know, if your cards are all pink diamonds, you don't need to learn that stuff. You just need to rim run and take crazy shots, and you're good to go. All right, no threes. That's why it's necessary to play with a squad on 2K. You know what's funny? On this account, I played without my friends. I created a My Career character on this account. And I apologize for what y'all about to see, but I'm not trying to lose this game. Sorry, guys. Had to do it. These characters are unevolved. They can't do anything right. I actually have like almost a 70% win rate with the character. Now I did start playing with my friends after, but without my friends, I went something like 12-1 in the event. So it really does depend, but yeah, and I mean, you definitely in the rec, you definitely can't be playing with randos, that's for sure. All right, come here, Evan Turner, get us out of here. Since the matchmaking is putting us against amethyst cards for some reason. Take us home, Evan Turner. Yeah, randoms can definitely be really bad, but I do think compared to like 2K18, the level of the average player in the 2K community is going up. It's still not great. There's still a pretty big skill gap from like the mid-level to the high level. But it's definitely getting better. I remember when no one could do anything, basically. People were just like running around like crazy people. And then when you saw somebody who could dribble, it was like, oh, somebody who can dribble is here. Whereas now, you know, roughly every court you go to, people know what to do generally. Like, you see people generally doing the right thing. They're just not doing a good job of doing the right thing. So I think it's getting better. I don't think that has bled over to the MyTeam community yet, though. And I do think it's because so much of the fun of the mode is about collecting the cards as opposed to actually winning, right? Like, I don't think too many people approach my team and say, all I care about is being the best right now. You know, how hard is it to start from scratch if I were to get the game now? Well, that's part of the reason I'm doing this account. This is an account that's to start from scratch. Greg Coxon asked that question, and I think MyTeam is actually surprisingly easy to build up a decent deck. So in fact, we can take a quick second to look. Make sure no evos. Okay, so if you go over here to the challenges, and you go to Spotlight Challenges, out of all of these cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of them are really good cards. And you get all of those cards for free, just for winning one game on Rookie, which is easy to do. And those cards all evolve into very good players. Dwayne Wade will always be usable. He has really good animations, a very good shot release. He's a 92 speed, good defense, great ball handle, just dunks everything. Dwight Howard he might be the fastest center in the game, if maybe the second fastest. He goes to 87 speed if you evolve him all the way. And Spotlight Andre Iguodala is actually very comparable to the Michael Jordan card that's coming out. Excellent dunker, excellent ball handle, excellent defense, and a decent shooter. You said your main game is MLB The Show. Well, I would say it depends on what mode do you play. Do you play Road to the Show or do you play the Diamond Dynasty? What mode do you play, Greg? Yeah, the KG card is great. I fully evoed the KG on my main account. He's a fantastic card. And his 3, I think it goes to a 67 or a 69 or something like that. Hardy har har. And I think if you put a shoe on him and get that 3 to a 71, he will definitely, I think he might get catch and shoot. He will definitely hit corner threes for you. So that KG card is actually very good. The only reason I don't like the KG card as much is because the Siakam card is really great. It does everything the KG card does, except it has better perimeter defense, and it's pretty cheap for a diamond card. And the fighting game mentality is basically like, if a character is good, but another character does everything that character does, but is just better, then the good character, there's no reason to pick them. And I feel like that's the case with KG. After you spend all that time evolving him, you will have enough MT to just buy a Siakam. And once you buy that Siakam, unless you play in the post, you're not going to play that KG a whole lot after that. Yeah, the Siakam's a confusing case, man, because that card is like really cheap for some reason, but it's one of the best cards in the game. Like, I think it might be the only card. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. If you guys know the mode, I think that card might be the only card in the game that can guard Giannis straight up. Is going to hit all of its threes if you release it properly. Can guard any switch on the perimeter if either Giannis isn't in the game, and is good in the fast break. Like, I don't know if any card does all of those things. Like, the only thing the Siakam card is not really good at is it's not a good independent offensive player. Like, you're not going to take him into the post. You're not going to cross people up. Although, because he's 6'9" and he's fast, you can... Oh, that was terrible. You can, you can rim run on people, but... Got him. Oh my God, he's gonna foul me on rookie. Is we still on rookie? You foul him. They're just gonna hack Evan Turner. Is it not gonna let me score? Is that what's happening right now? Oh Jesus! I didn't hear the shot clock. Yeah. Siakam also does have really, really great animations, man. I totally agree with you, Cam. And I think the same thing is kind of happening with Odom. At least it was last I checked. Odom was going for fairly low on the market, considering his pack just came out today. He's gonna get every rebound, isn't he? Yep, that's a mismatch. Um, and that Odom card is one of the best cards in the game, like easily. It's easily one of the best cards in the game. I mean, Mike, he should literally hit me in the back of the head. Y'all should have felt the vibration on my controller. All right. Just got to get a stop with cards that have no defense yet. The morph. Did not expect him to catch that like that. Struggle. I really didn't want to take that turnaround like that. Yeah, this one might be an L. This is a bad matchup for these on-the-ball cards. He's greening. Tay Shakir, I feel a little bit the same way. Um, I don't have mixed emotions about this 2K. I I don't find Rec and Pro-Am to be that fun. I feel like this is kind of like 2K19, and it's basically the same issue that they had before, where it's like it's a passing lane fest, right? People are just hanging out in the passing lanes, and that's really what those modes are all about, is avoiding the passing lane foolishness, where people are just leaping all over the place and up the court. It's about the defender just kind of smashing into you, and you don't have any explosive tools to get past them, and the center is so fast that he can kind of catch up to you no matter what, and it's just like really an irritating way to play the game. And it's just annoying. And I play point guard, so it's one of those things where it's like you're the only person who can generate offense against a good team. It's just pick and roll all day, and um, against a bad team, if you play that way, you're gonna blow them out, right? But against a good team, that's the way you have to play. And I think it's just a symptom of a whole bunch of things. A whole bunch of things that are wrong with the game. And I think everything that's bad about 2K gets kind of exposed in those modes when everybody's a human being. Wow, he just traveled. Did y'all see that? Now Greg is like, those are the awful Wizards unis. See, I was getting props for the Wizards unis before, but no, these are basically the uniforms that the characters came with. So I haven't gone into my team and like given them outfits yet. I'm literally starting this from scratch. But overall, I'm still enjoying this 2K. Overall, like as a game, but there are things in the game that I would not enjoy if I. Oh, that's it for him. There are things in the game that I would not enjoy, um, if I did them all the time. So, for instance, my career, I would not find my career enjoyable if I had to play my career all the time. Oh yeah, it did go up from rookie. I knew something changed. I was like, what's going on here? My career is very, very, very poorly tuned. It's not fun to play at all. It's not a real role play experience like it used to be back in the day. It's not particularly rewarding. There's nothing fun about it. You just no longer care about winning a championship. It doesn't feel like a real NBA game in any kind of way. It's just overall, to me, a very silly experience just across the board. And yeah, I find it very uninteresting to do. So if it was like back in the day, where I would just fire up 2K to go through my career and then call it a day and have fun, I would hate 2K this year if that's what I was doing. Same thing if all I cared about was like jumping in the rec center all day, because it's just really two things: either you completely maul the opponent because they're just horrible and they don't know how to play the game, and they, you know, match made with a bunch of randos and you're in there with your friends, or you play against a team that knows what they're doing and you just it's the same game over and over. Like the games basically all play out the same way. And if you've watched 2K League, if you watched like high level matchups, you know what it is. It's just pick and roll, pressure up court, screen, screen, screen. There's like not enough basketball in it, and the reason there's not enough basketball in it is because you can't. Well, first of all, bigs are still way too fast, and guards are still way too slow. Passing is still. It's not that the passing is slow in and of itself. It's that the. The pass and the catch animations, not the ball travel through the air. They can't speed that up any more than they have it. It wouldn't work out well. But the actual, you know, wind up of the pass animations sometimes are horrible. People can bump you out of your pass animation with no consequence whatsoever. So you can go to press pass and they'll just hit you in your hip and your player stumbles with the ball and it's not a foul. You totally stop me from making an offensive play by making body contact with me, and that's not a foul at all. That's not good, because passing in the 5v5 game is just really atrocious, man. It's like definitely. And right now I'm struggling with the buttons here. Like when you call up the menus, it's very, very, very unresponsive. I already spoke to Zara about it. They tried to get them to be faster, and when they did, it caused a bug. So that's why the menus are so unresponsive. But that's another thing, right? So you have to icon pass when you're playing in Rec Center and Pro Am, because you can't run the risk of getting the wrong pass, because it's going to be an automatic steal because everybody's waiting in the passing lanes. So when you see the person that's open, you should be able to just go icon, icon, boom, boom, right? Like trigger directly. Why are you waiting so far off the three-point line when you don't have limitless? It should be trigger, button, that's my pass, right? But that's not the case. You can't do that. Wow, so that was a great situation right there. Jameer Nelson's wide open, but his catch animation took so long that there was no way for him to get a shot off. Can't believe that one now. Yeah, so there should be certain things in the game that are very strong, like in real life. So like jab stepping, getting somebody off of you and pulling up. If you look at Jimmy Butler, he's not out there crossing people over, right? Like he's just creating a little bit of space and taking a shot. But you would never take that shot in 2K because it's all about just generating threes and dunks. And when you try to generate those other kinds of shots, every animation leading up to that kind of shot is just way too slow. Just like way too slow. Like right there, he just bumped me. He just bumped me and made me pick up the ball. I'm just trying to get him to post up. Yeah, the jab step and the triple threat are really good, but they're really good in Park, and they're really good in MyTeam. They're not really good in Rec, because in Rec, there's not enough room to do anything because the people aren't playing their man, right? They're playing off of their man in the passing lanes. So because they're playing off of their man in the passing lanes, there's less space on the court. So they're not actually in the corner, like in real life, concerned that if they sag off too far, they're going to get burned by a three-point shot. They're kind of, you know, more than an arm and a half distance away from their player. They're more than an arm and a half distance away from their player, so they can cover both options. They're in the passing lane in case you try to pass away, and they're going to get it, because even if they don't get the ball, there's a high chance it's going to hit their body because your player doesn't pass with any kind of intelligence. 71% contested, that's fine. Or they can pinch you, right? They'll just... The ball is exposed when you go that way, so they can kind of jump at you, and there's not much you can do about that either. Oh, Evan Turner. Let's go. Is this a good card? I heard he's pretty good. Again, I don't know why I picked him up, because him and Iggy really play the same position, but it's early. We're just kind of here getting resources. Ooh, Evan Turner. Oh, that, see, and it's stuff like that. Look at how slow that dunk animation. Why did he just do a dunk contest, dunk gather? And, you know, against, obviously in my team, it doesn't matter, but at least, you know, triple threat, it's whatever. But when you're playing a game against a competitive opponent in Pro-Am, and you go for a wide open layup, and they do some weird, stupid gather, that's 100% getting blocked. Like 100%. So if guards can't do layups on a regular basis when they're open, that takes away an entire reason to play a character that's modeled after Kyrie Irving or Steph Curry or Dame Lillard. Like, you look at the layups that these guys make in real life, and they're amazing. In 2K, if you're not, like, literally, if you can see the opponent while you start your layup animation, there's at least a 40% chance you're getting blocked. And I mean literally just if you can see them on your screen. If they're at the three-point line and you're at the free throw line and you start your layup animation, they might come from the three-point line and block your layup animation because of how far the big men jump in this game. And I told you guys this literally day zero of the game. I saw Joel Embiid. It was right here on this channel on the stream. I saw Joel Embiid fly from the middle of the paint almost all the way to the three-point line to grab a rebound. And I was like, oh, they didn't fix it. They're still doing the long jump on every single jump attempt. And the reason that's so messed up is because they don't even need a running start. Like, I understand you want chase down blocks in the game. That's totally fair, right? It's totally fair. Chase down blocks are a thing. You want, you know, bigs, like guards get past bigs sometimes, but bigs kind of walk up behind them and block it from behind. I get it. I see what you're trying to do. But they don't have it tuned properly. So bigs are literally just taking flying leaps from no matter where they are, from a complete standstill, while guards have a layup animation that takes 35 frames to start up. Literally a 35 frame startup layup animation. When in real life, a Steph Curry or Kyrie Irving throws that thing up off the glass before the big man realizes they even let the ball go. So it's stuff like that that really has to get tuned. We got a little love from the vault tonight. Kind of like what's happening right now. Wait, did we just get 2 packs? Because we got... Oh, yeah. Let's go. So Greg, who was asking about, you know, is it easy to start? Basically what I'm doing right here, man, like I've just started. You can see the VC. You can see the MT. This account has never had any VC put on it. This is a completely dry account. And I'm going through the very, very beginnings of the mode. But we're already building our deck, getting some Evo cards. We got a Ruby. Who's this? Who this? Zerbiak. Okay. That's not the worst thing in the world. I got to get back to work soon, so I'm going to shut down the stream soon, guys. But I just wanted to get in here, say what's up, talk a little NBA. Had a lot of fun talking Luka Doncic with you guys and other stuff. Who y'all got for MVP, if y'all in the chat? I mean, I got Giannis easy. For me, it's not even a discussion. I think Giannis is very easily the MVP over everyone, including LeBron James. Y'all see that? Y'all see that team name though? Y'all see that team name? I'm just saying. Stay tuned. All right, so let me look at my team real quick and see how we looking. So we got Zerbiak. I'm actually gonna leave that dude in there. This Ben Simmons card is horrible, so we'll replace him with. Oh, he's not in yet. Okay, I'll have him play backup. I don't know what I'm gonna do with this Andre Miller card. I do not know why I picked up that card, but we don't need Crawford here anymore. You here? All right. So let's see. Get rid of DeRozan. Is there anybody good to put on here? I don't like this Kyrie Irving card very much. Where's Brian at? Where's Brian at? Let's see. Yeah, so you guys can see I just started. I barely have even any rubies on this account, which is a good thing. I find it kind of fun building a team from scratch, to be honest with you. This is the first time I've ever done it. I find it really interesting. This is PS4, Greg, because this reminds me a lot of what it used to be like to play a franchise mode with a fantasy draft. Except instead of a linear NBA season, you just kind of have this progressive goal of building your team to be as good as possible. This is not a pay-to-win mode. I definitely want to put that to bed. And the reason being is that pack odds are horrible. So you are almost guaranteed to be wasting your money if you go into this pack market and spend money on this stuff. Even if you were to find other ways to raise your MT quickly, it's still not good to pull packs. What you really want to do is you want to go to the auction house, and you sit here in the auction house for a while, and you just find good prices for players, and you pick up who you can, and they call it sniping. So for instance, this Moments of the Week card, this Pascal Siakam at 35K. You see this bid is ending. I don't think nobody's bid on this card, so this is going to probably go back up for this guy. That you can earn that 35K MT very easily just by playing the game mode. 2K did a really good job this year of providing you with a lot of ways to build your team up before you have to play a human being without opening any packs. I think if you open packs, it really is just for the fun of opening packs. I will be opening packs on this channel just for the entertainment of watching me get nothing. But yeah, I think the real way to get your team together is to, first of all, go through triple threat until you get stuff you want. So like for me, what I'm doing is I'm building an all Knicks team on my main account. So I had no choice but to get at least 300 wins in triple threat to get this Diamond Jamal Crawford card. And let me tell you, boy am I happy I did that. Because even though this card doesn't play defense, offensively, he's literally like playing with a 2K19 play sharp. Like, his dribble is so fast. He's just a fun card to use. I'm really glad I grinded up to get him. But if you see here, you get 1500. Like, you get a lot of MT from doing this. The only thing is just don't waste a lot of MT on your contracts. Either use the contracts on higher rated cards or switch the cards out if you're not evoing a card. That's the main thing I would say, is to pick your evo cards and take them into this mode so that you're doing two or three things at one time. And then domination is super easy if you know how to play the game. If you don't know how to play the game, that's totally okay. This is a good place to learn, then just play from the lower levels on. But if you're familiar with the game, I would say go straight to superstar here,
I mean to All-Star. Sorry, it's only on All-Star too in the first time you go through, and you get rewards for each of these. So it's well over 1,000 MT per game, plus a free player, plus a whole bunch of consumables like contracts and shoes you can sell for more MT, which I'll do right now before I forget. I sell every shoe except for ball handling shoes. And it's not that you need ball handling shoes, but I like to have them for a rainy day. Get rid of these real quick. Okay, and that's all my shoes. So I literally just started this account. You guys could see from the beginning of the stream. I started this from the beginning. So what do we have? We have 11 wins. We have 10 total wins. I think except for 2, I did all of those wins right here on stream. I haven't played any domination at all, and I already have 5,400 MT, and I've actually already bought a couple of cards. So this is just from, and I'm also not even doing locker codes on this account because I'm saving locker codes for my main account. So I'm not going to do this here, this community poll. Although I have figured out that you can do locker codes from the app. So when there's a locker code released on Twitter, I'll do it from the app, from my main account, and I'll do it from here. But up until now, there's a lot of codes I missed out on. Diamond players I could have gotten, all that other stuff. So this account really is literally like if you were starting it, maybe not today, let's say last night. This account is that brand new, almost nothing to it at all. And like if I had the time to play this all night, I could probably fill up this roster with a couple of decent amethyst cards already. And honestly, I don't even think that's necessary. I would say just Evo cards, play with low level cards and get through the modes until you figure out which kind of cards you want. And once you have between 50 to 70k MT, that's when you want to go shopping, go sniping. And there's a lot of really well priced cards in this game mode that play really, really, really well for you that you can definitely get victories. Yeah, Cam Powell says Davis Bertans is a good card. Yeah, there's a lot of them, man. That Jaren Jackson Jr. is a phenomenal card. He's just an amethyst. Bertans is a great card. Coutinho Mobley's a slept-on card. Jameer Nelson's a great card, super cheap. Great, great shooter, great release. That's why I brought him in to Evo him. So my basic theory is my point guard is either going to be a defender, a playmaker, or a shooter. And Jameer Nelson fits the shooter role very well for me. And his release is excellent. He shoots from very, very far away. And he has a very high rating. He has a good ball handle. And his defense for a 6-foot-tall player actually isn't horrible. So he's like literally my Patty Mills, right? He's my Derek Fisher. I bring him, even though Derek Fisher started most of his career, but I bring him off the bench. Or if I had a card like a Odom or a Giannis, I would start a Jameer and I would run the offense through those other cards. I don't understand why people play cards like Derrick Rose and Giannis at the same time for all of the same minutes when Rose is a card that you really want in his hands. Like, you don't need Giannis on the floor at the same time. You could play a Stockton who's going to play defense and shoot. But a card that is mostly for creating off the dribble, it's just like real life, right? Like, Eric Bledsoe and Giannis don't make a whole lot of sense on the court. And the Raptors figured that out, and that's why they got to the finals and the Milwaukee Bucks didn't. I feel like it's the same thing. Sometimes people play cards just because the cards are high rated, not because of how the cards actually make up a cohesive game plan on the floor when they're put together. So I got this Evan Turner card because he was super cheap. He's going to get an 86 ball control pretty quickly. He gets 2 Evos up to Diamond. So it's one of those things where in the early going, a cheap card like this is good because he allows me to get through all of the content while spending virtually no money. And he Evos at the same time. So if I get sick of the card or I don't like the card anymore or replace him with a higher level player, I can get rid of him for, whatever he's going for in the market. Cam Powell says, yes, Jason Kidd starting when you have Giannis on the floor. Yeah, I like that for the defensive aspect. and Kid can hit an open shot. The only reason I personally wouldn't do that is because I think Kid's release is a little slow. That's my only beef. But if you haven't tried the Jameer Nelson card, I highly recommend it. I think he used to be slept on, but his diamond is pretty expensive now. So I think maybe people are catching on to the card because the shot on Jameer Nelson is like outstanding. Like if you play Pro-Am or Rec, you can literally dribble behind the screen and shoot from limitless range with Jameer Nelson as if you were in the park or the rec center or something. It's like he does that very, very well. I don't know if my team player, like I don't see my team players play like that. There's a lot of rim running, a lot of fast breaks, and just kind of 5 out and taking a player with blow bys and stuff like that. Not a whole lot of usage of screens and not a whole lot of ball handling and stuff like that. So I think it might be a style thing too, based on how you play. But the card I really do want to pick up is Drew Holiday. In fact, let me look at the auctions right now. Do a quick auction glance before I leave. But I love this game mode. I mean, I haven't really played people yet. I'm just enjoying building the team aspect. And I think sometimes that gets a little lost. Is like, ooh, 3,200? 2,900? Yeah, I'm definitely picking this card up in a second. Let's just see if we can, well. So when you see a card this is a quick tip. When you see a card is at that price, you take the lowest price. You can scroll all the way down, but that'll take forever. You can take the lowest price you just saw. Put it up right here and then do a search on that. Okay, so he goes for much lower than that, so I'm going to do that again since he's only 2,500. I'm definitely buying this before I go because he's going to be my main point card. So my philosophy with this mode is you don't always have to have the meta card. You can have a card that counters the meta card. I can't believe he's this cheap. It's because those new packs came out today, which is funny because in the new packs let's go. Come to daddy. Welcome home. Welcome home, Drew Holiday. I'm extraordinarily happy about that. Drew is one of my favorite cards in the game, Cam. So the reason I love Drew is because Drew counters the Derrick Roses and the Baron Davises of this game, right? He can lock them up, he can hit his shots, and he can create off the dribble. I mean, Drew is just his release is excellent. Drew is just like a phenomenal card. So I'm actually really pleased I got that. I didn't expect Drew to be that cheap. He looked like he was locking up at around 3,200, some cases 4K for a little bit. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. Like, I'm glad y'all got to see that because Drew Holiday is an outstanding card. Like, the only card that does his job, to my knowledge, you guys can correct me, is there's actually a couple. I think it's Sidney Moncrief, who's like, what is he, a diamond or something like that? He's a diamond or a pink diamond. And there's John Stockton, who I believe is also a pink diamond. Now the thing about, I can't speak to Moncrief, but John Stockton, who's the most popular defensive meta card, he's super expensive and he's short. Drew Holiday is 6'4", and if you look at his player model, which is another quick, just general 2K tip, but it makes more sense in my team than any other mode, just because a card is listed at a certain height doesn't mean that in-game that's what the character model is. The character models aren't all listed. Like, if one character is 6'5" and 200 pounds, and another character is 6'5" and 200 pounds, that doesn't mean that they're the same size, right? That, like, you would think so, but it doesn't. The game, the art team has these characters at like different model sizes. So sometimes you get a character that's 6'5", but he looks like he's 6'7", and Drew Holiday is in that group of like, it says he's 6'4", but if you look at Drew Holiday next to Stephon Marbury, the character model clearly looks more than an inch taller than Stephon Marbury, who's listed at 6'3", right? So I would keep an eye out for stuff like that because size definitely matters. in this game mode. In all game modes, size. It's what in an RPG you would call it a passive ability, right? So that's why Murasan is here. Why every deck has. Oh, let me replace this miller real quick before I forget. Where you at? There you go. Size is a passive ability that just makes your defense better and it makes your finishing better. And it actually can make your shooting better in the sense that the taller you are, the harder it is to contest you. Now, it's not so. The shooting part isn't as much of an aspect for guards, but it's definitely true with bigs on the 3-point line, right? So the thing about a Channing Frye is I think he might get Deadeye. I'm pretty sure he gets Deadeye. Yeah, he gets Deadeye. But it's like he has, platinum all-time Deadeye because he's 7 feet tall in this game. Channing Frye is 7 feet tall, or whatever. So because he's 7 feet tall, you have to be all the way in his jersey to contest his shot. And if you're a guard rotating out to Channing Frye, it's like you're not even there if you're rotating late. If you have a 6'7" shooter on the perimeter, it's a much easier contest for your guards. Greg, I am not on Twitch on this channel. My art stream is on Twitch at Nelson Blake I believe. But I have not done much Twitch gaming streams yet. Might move over to that at some point. If I can figure out the dual streaming, maybe I'll get a capture card and do that kind of thing. But for now, we're keeping it on YouTube where the videos are archived and stuff like that. But yeah, so Drew Holiday being so tall is also a thing because John Stockton being so short makes him very susceptible to taller guards. Whereas Drew Holiday, if you're 6'4", you can defend guards up to 6'7" with no problem. Because you get about a 3-inch leeway in 2K before you start seeing like a penalty on your defensive capabilities. So Drew Holiday, excellent card. For some strange reason, he was less than 2K. I don't know why, because most of the guards in the game are not better than Drew Holiday. Most of the point guards in this game. Not at all. So, that's why I say this mode is really interesting, because I don't think the pricing is according to how good a card is. There are a lot of reasons that cards are different prices. And I'm not going to go into all of that stuff. Maybe do that in another video. But, the market is not representative of the best cards. Sometimes the best cards are the most expensive cards, but very often the cards, if you're trying to make the best deck possible, aren't the most expensive cards on the market. And so knowing that, if you do your research, it's very easy to build a really, really nice team without spending, first of all, any real money, but even without blowing all your MyTeam coin. Don't do that either. So that's pretty much that, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching the stream. Greg, I know people definitely stream Twitch and YouTube at the same time. In fact, I think almost every YouTube streamer I watch is also streaming on Twitch when they stream. Now, as far as from the PlayStation, yes, but I think if you capture your PlayStation from your computer, you can stream Twitch from your computer and you can broadcast from your PlayStation if you want. There's probably other ways you can do it. I haven't done the research into it yet, because dual streaming is not in the near future, at least not yet. Although YouTube is getting more and more iffy by the day, so we'll see. I do like Twitch, but I also like the format of YouTube because we can do pre-recorded content on here and keep the streams on here in the same place. And I love the fact that the same community that watches our pre-recorded content will also watch our streams. M7 says the T-Wolves are giving the Clips a run for their money. Yeah, I'm definitely going to catch up on those games while I do some drawing. I got to get back to my deadlines now. But, yeah, let me wrap this up. You guys can see where their team is right now. This is day one where their team is. Actually, there's one more thing I have to do, which is I have to go to the pack market and pick up another Sapphire. Which Sapphire should I get? Any of these usable? I'm pretty weak at center, so I'll pick up this bootleg Rafe LaFrance. And he will make the team as well. But yeah, so this is the team so far. Oh yeah, because I didn't even have a backup set. Well, I have Mirasan. I'm going to actually replace Nowitzki because I do not like him. Cool. So far here we are, 82 rated. I could goose the ratings to go higher, but that doesn't make sense at this point in the game. So the goal for me with this team right now, the next step is just to go through a little more of the triple threat, especially when, like, the reason I played it today was because it was a bonus for the day to get extra MT. So we wound up getting more MT than we normally get. The vault opened more than half the time, I feel like. So we did pretty decent on tokens and packs and all that stuff. We even got the MT unlocked for us once. And once I build up a team of Evos, well, then I go to the challenges, grab the Evo cards I want, which I'm not going to get Dwayne Wade this time because he's not going to be a main guard for me. I'm going to get Iggy. He's going to be my main 2-3. And I'm going to get Dwight, who's going to be my main defensive big. I personally feel like you should have one defensive big and two shooting bigs. And the defensive big is just there to counter if they bring a goon into the middle. But that's my play style. You know, some people might have a more post-up oriented play style. I think the post-up is fundamentally a weak way to build your team for two reasons. Number one, there are a lot of really great defensive centers in this game, and there are very few good post-up players that are 7-3 and above. And even though this isn't Pro-Am or Rec Center, it's still governed by the same rules. And if you're the exact same height as your opponent, you do not have an advantage in the post. So you have to outplay them every time because you don't have an advantage, right? So that's good for a bailout. It's great on mismatches, but as your main game plan, it's not worth it. And in this mode, you're talking about, if you're talking about a great post-up player that you're going to be revolving around, that means that you dumped a lot of your resources into them, your contracts and your MT and stuff like that. I don't think that's worth it. And the other reason is, if you get down, you can't come back by scoring in the post over and over. You have to generate shots. So by that thinking, you need someone who can go to the basket, and you need people who can hit shots. So I think posting up is a secondary game plan, not a primary game plan. Now I would say on the reverse, if you get a lead, it's much better to keep a lead by playing it slow in the post than it is by jacking up a whole lot of threes and allowing the 2K gods to let your opponent back in the game. So it's a give and a take. I think the post is a good secondary game plan, but it's a primary game plan, not super strong. But if somebody does come in with a post player, because at the lower level people really believe in like big centers just trying to dunk every time, having a Dwight Howard is excellent to just shut that down. And he actually shoots a lot better than you would think Dwight Howard could shoot. His mid-range it gets really high, goes like to 70 something. And if you know 2K, you only need a 75 to hit your mid-range shot every time. And with a coach, he gets it up to a 75. So I love the Dwight card because of his speed and obviously his defense. His free throw is actually surprisingly easy to hit. His mid-range is surprisingly easy to hit, and he's a free card. He's an excellent free card. I think Pink Diamond Dwight is probably a meta card, especially as a center off the bench or a center counter. But for primary centers, I prefer shooting centers, and there's a lot of really good shooting centers in the game, and there's also some really good affordable shooting centers in the game. So I will most likely start Rafe LaFrance until I get maybe the real Rafe LaFrance. I'll check him real quick before I sign off. Yeah, pretty cheap. Pretty cheap. Yeah, if you go to auction, you can probably pick up this card for nothing, and it's an excellent card. This is the kind of thing I'm talking about. You said the Evo process can just take a long time. When I Evo, Cam, I don't Evo to get the card up as fast as possible. I do something else with Evo cards, right? So like I Evo Channing Frye and Jameer Nelson in basically my first hour, right? And that's not what I was focusing on. I was focusing on moving up into the triple threat ranks to get some tokens to start unlocking my collector levels and move up in the token market. I may get that Jamal Crawford on this account again because that card is just too good. And maybe I'll go nuts on this account and go all the way up to get, Serge Ibaka at the very least. This pink diamond Serge Ibaka that's at 500 wins or 490 wins from now. Because he's an excellent card too. Not sure. I do think that's a lot of time investment for a card that is probably inferior to guys like Jaren Jackson Jr. But that was my goal, was to do the triple threat rewards today. And I just happen to evo some cards. I think if you evo your cards in the process of doing other things, you're good. I think once your deck is built, evo cards are a bad idea because you're not getting anything else done, right? Like you're playing a deck full of cards that are completely finished and you're just kind of grinding the evo card. Domination is its own grind. Triple threat is its own grind. The challenges are their own grind. I'd rather do that with evo cards that are going to give me that are going to increase in value than with cards that are going to either decrease in value or just cost me empty contracts. And that's my thinking with that. But alright guys, there will be more streams like this in the future. I think whenever I play this mode, I might just throw up a stream on this channel. And we can just kind of chat NBA while I do this. To keep me from being bored playing triple threat and domination or whatever. So if you guys are down for that, I'll see you here. All right, have a good one. Enjoy your weekend and peace.